Hello, here we go. Still on chapter 12 from the Professional Baking book by Gislin, and we are going to make Swiss meringue. And there's a lot of different meringues, and that's 8 ounces of egg white. All right, that's a pound of sugar. So that's about the ratio, 2 times the sugar as the egg whites. And what we're going to do here is we're going to warm that. And one of the reasons why I like, I have a new setup here, so I apologize. Maybe you can't see as closely. Most of the stuff I'll be doing on the board. So anyway, I could adjust the angle, but this is much better setup and more conducive to working. So what we're going to do here is we're going to warm our egg whites and sugar in a double boiler. And I like to warm to 140 degrees. And keep it stirred. And because it's a water bath, that kind of thing, your eggs won't cook, especially with all that sugar in there. I mean, eventually they would cook, but 140. And the reason why I do 140 is because then that pasteurizes the egg whites, and therefore I can eat them raw. I could top a meringue cake. I can, you know, when they don't actually ever get up to temperature. Like if you put it on a meringue cake and then just put it under the broiler or something, just to kind of brown the peaks, that's not really heating your egg whites up properly. So this is pasteurized. So that's always a good thing. Because a common meringue is you just whip up sugar and egg whites. It's not quite that easy. There is a technique to that. And then there's an Italian meringue where you actually boil the sugar, and that's how you heat up your egg whites. So, and the way you can tell that this is, oops, and I have a glaze heating up because I'm going to show you. Shouldn't be boiling that much. This is gelatin and maple syrup, okay? And I'm going to glaze some tartlets, banana and apple, because that's going to be the application for the pastry cream that I made right here. All right. So, so that's, we're going to fit that in all in there, because once the meringue is whipping, then I'm going to need something else to do. And so back to the meringue, and the way you can tell if this is actually whipped up or 140 is all the sugar will be dissolved. And what does that mean? If I feel the egg white, it won't feel grainy. If I feel it between my fingers, it won't feel grainy at all. So, and you know, sometimes use your, I could put a thermometer in there. It's not 140 yet. Your body is 98.6. So use your body as a thermometer. So if it's, you know, try to gauge it how much hotter than your body it is and how much cooler than your body it is. And that's where you go from there. So you start at kind of 100 degrees when you feel things for temperature. You mothers out there that might test formula on your wrist or wherever you test it to see that it's your body temperature. It's the same temperature as your body, so that the baby gets, I don't want to say fooled, but thinks it has mother's milk. So anyway, use your body, get used to that, get used to temperatures. And so we're going to feel this, and still a little grainy, okay? Still a little grainy. Wash your hands once a month. I'm further from the sink, so I apologize, but that's the way it is. And so get that 140, and so that's heating up. We have our glaze here. That's for later. Let's just put that aside. We're going to type little kisses for the meringue. So what do we have here? We have, whoa. Don't do that. All right. These are tartlets, okay? So I have it's a puff pastry that I blind bake. That means I bake them without filling, and I use beans, and then I pull the beans off at the end and I brown the bottom. And so what we have here is, so you fill the pastry with the pastry cream, right? Just take that like that and put it in there. All right. That's it. Try to be neat. Don't go up the sides. These are false bottom or tartlet pans. In other words, the bottom, I could push that out. So that's enough. You don't want to overfill it. Plus, we're going to be taking fruit. Let's see here. See? That's the pan. All right. Now, I kind of bake these kind of country-like, so the pastry's up over the lip. So I have to kind of help it along. But let's take this apple, for instance. All right. So that comes right up. See? All right. So now we have a pastry, and that's filled with pastry cream, a puff pastry. You can use any dough. You can use a pâte sucrée. Don't get this too hot. And okay, that's 140. All right. So let's get this. Let's get this on in the mixer right here. All right. And this is a little cream of tartar. Okay. Not too much. It's an acid. All right. That's it. 1/8 of a teaspoon, if that. And you use a little acid to help whip up egg whites. You use a little lemon juice. Whoops. You can use a little lemon juice. All right, I'll try to speak loud. Get this. You're going to whip it cool, and you can feel the bottom of the bowl. 140 is pretty warm, so it's going to take a while. But this is going to come up nice. You have to make sure there's no fat at all in the bowl or the whisk. No excess butter or residual oil of any kind, because what's going to happen is it'll prevent your eggs from foaming up. So just kind of whip this cool, and it'll start to come up, and you're looking for stiff peaks. Go soft, medium, stiff. And if you stick your finger in the egg white, in the meringue rather, a soft peak curls over. A medium peak kind of curls a little bit. A stiff peak, that little point stays stiff. All right, it's already coming up. All right, cream of tartar helps quite a bit. Plus these egg whites, being warm activates them too. Kind of helps release the protein, because it's the protein in the egg that's holding it up and giving it its shape. Okay, so what we have here is one of our tarts, and what I did here was I poached these in a little bit of maple syrup, actually a lot. There's not a lot of maple syrup here because I poured it in to make the glaze. Right here, remember the glaze? All right, and that's going to brush over the whole top. And so we take our apple pieces and we kind of line them up, and so this was just one apple that I made 2 tarts with. I'm going to make some more because I have some local friends that are going to receive apple tart, and somebody's going to get banana tarts. And you could get fancy and do this more decoratively. You want to cover all the holes. That's the sign of a good tart, okay? And that meringue is coming up already. you can hear the whisk slow down. So I used to do a show called Cooking with All Your Senses. And it's not just taste and smell and sight, it's hearing. All right, I can tell when pasta's ready by the sound of the boil. I can tell when the egg whites are getting ready because the machine is starting to labor a little bit more, okay? But I'm still pretty warm down there. And anyway, so I had leftover dough that I rolled out, sprinkled with cinnamon sugar, right? This is cinnamon sugar. It's about that color. There's no recipe. Very little cinnamon to sugar, actually. Otherwise, it gets too dark. But it's to taste, okay? That's just how it works. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to decorate the top, okay, with one of those. Why? Only because I have it. I had extra dough. I felt like I didn't want to throw it away, and I didn't really have enough to make a shell. So we could take this. Now, I don't think I'll have time, but maybe. No, I won't. To show you how the gelatin works. But, so this, you got to be careful with gelatin, unflavored gelatin.